Hello and welcome to Reviews. As always, I'm Plume Noir, and this is actually Halloween. Tonight is Halloween night. And before I go into DCeased number 6, there's something I want to address. As they say, real talk. Um, you may have noticed that last night I was a little bit hard on Marvel Zombies Resurrection number 1. I stand by what I said. I still think it didn't really offer too much different from the original. Some of still too many similarities, and I mean, even down to the corpse of Galactus playing such a key role. But if you watch my review, you'll notice that I really enjoyed the book. I did enjoy it, not as much as the original Marvel Zombies, because like I said, I didn't think it was as original as it could have been. And I gave it a good score. So, you may have wondered why I was so hard on the book. As I said, tonight is Halloween. And Halloween was my favorite time of the year. I mean, it was my Christmas. I loved everything about it. I was, totally into it. And, well, you see, tonight is the 20th anniversary of the death of a friend of mine. And, in fact, I was the last person to see her alive before her husband murdered her. And, yeah, I had to deal with the police and everything. I saw her just a couple hours before it happened. And once that kind of happened, and it happened right on Halloween, and it it kind of changed things for me, and that's been really, really top of mind. This being the 20th anniversary, and Halloween has been kind of a weird thing for me ever since. It was actually just a few years after that on Halloween night, my mother went into the hospital and never came out, and died about a week later. And it was actually now 5 years ago that I was staying at a hotel for work. And while I was taking stuff out to my car that night, getting ready to leave the next morning, I saw, emergency vehicles, and I got to be the one to help the what do you call them? Not the medics, but whatever. Cart out a dead woman in a body bag on a stretcher on a gurney and load her up. I was there, just literally this far away from that. So Halloween actually now has a lot of real life death, to me now, and it's got a lot of reminders. And I'm not saying this for sympathy, and I'm not looking to fish for anything. It's just it kind of gets to me, and it may make me a little bit crankier than I normally would be. So, and again, with this being the 20th anniversary, it has been really top of mind. These past couple days, and especially tonight. I wasn't even sure if I was going to do this review, and but I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna work through it because, well, it kind of fits. It really does kind of fit with the story. So this is DCeased number 6. Now that we got that out of the way, now that I brought everyone down, let's bring everything back up. And God dang it, I love a woman in tight leather. And just see, we'll bring it back up. Let's bring the laughs back, okay? Reel them back in. Now that we depress everyone, reel them back. Oh, as you may have noticed, I may have skipped a couple issues as far as reviews, but I've been following this book, and I have been loving this book. And what I've been loving about this book is it has the emotional heart that the first issue of Marvel Zombies Resurrection I didn't think it had. Using Lois Lane as the linchpin, as the centerpiece, as the heart of this book was a great, great idea. Now, I know some people don't like Tom Taylor. I really liked his Injustice Year One, and we're getting a lot more of that. You know, he writes some of the best Green Arrow, and his Green Arrow lines are really a joy. And yeah, I've been liking this book, and where we're up to on this book is that in the previous issues, um, the Flash got infected. Oh, well, Captain Atom ended up nuking Baltimore, Metropolis, Washington D.C. All that was saved was, from all this energy he just blew out, was a little part of the roof, in the top of the Daily Bugle building, with the heroes and survivors that were on top of that. They were saved by Green Canary, which Black Canary as a Green Lantern. Said it every time. I love the concept. So now that that's gone, you know, things are looking really bad. And it turned out that Martian Manhunter was infected. He infected Flash, who Superman had to finally break his no killing to take down the Flash. But in the process was mortally wounded. So now we have in the last issue, kind of think of it like Irredeemable, where we have a Superman that is infected. And where do we go from here? So I want to give a quick recap because I'm I'm going to spoil the ending. As I said, I've been loving this series. This issue's the weakest. It's got some good parts, but the ending. So I'm going to, when I get ready to get to that point, I'm going to give a spoiler because I'm going to have to go over the ending. There's no way around it. I cannot go around it. So anyway, into this. We see that Superman, I mean, this is the greatest bit. People see him, the world's gone to hell, and they say, his power is hope. He brings hope to the people, but when these people look up and they're happy, they realize something's not right. Because this Superman is infected by the anti-life equation, which spreads only death. And that's pretty much what Superman's doing now. He is now spreading death for the anti-life equation. And, well, he's got a big plan, and even though he's Superman, he should still be pretty busy for a while. So the heroes realize pretty much how boned they are. Damian has his father's Batman outfit. I like Batboy. I like the fact he doesn't just look like a short Batman. Although people seem to treat him with a little bit more respect than, but maybe it's the apocalypse, hey, this is Batman's son, let him have it. And so one of the things that Batman gave him was his plans to stop the other heroes. And we get these good parts in here, like Batman left a takedown plan for every major hero. Of course he did. Bruce didn't even have to be alive to scheme against us all. Actually, he didn't leave one for you. And Ollie gets offended by this. Bruce didn't think I could be dangerous? You're hurt. Batman didn't have a post-mortem Machiavellian plan to end you? Well, yeah. And his little pout. I could be a planetary threat if I wanted to. Of course you could, dear. You see, I've said it before. The best bits of horror are when you put in these little bits of humor. They let your brain kind of heal for a little bit. Give it a breather, let it catch its breath, and then you slam it again. And that's what this book has been. I've been loving DCeased because it has been these holy crap moments over and over. And I think Tom Taylor has written it well enough that you're not just like, okay, yeah, things suck, it's all dark, yeah. And that's kind of what I felt in the Marvel Zombies Resurrection. I didn't feel like it got enough of a breather as you're reading it. And I think this series overall has been well paced. And so basically, they're coming up with the plan. Batman left Damian kryptonite. And Diana goes into this great thing about she and her mother have discussed how they would bring down Superman if they had to. Well, what is Superman vulnerable to? kryptonite, and magic. So they decide they're going to synthesize a sword. Well, I shouldn't say synthesize, but merge a sword. Um, one of what they actually, the sword of Athena, who is the goddess of war and also the goddess of math. And the anti-life equation is an equation. It's a mathematical equation. So, and she says, and we are fighting an equation. This is not coincidence. I believe I hold fate in my hands. This would be a great bit of foreshadowing. But I'll get to that after the spoiler part. I'm already 10 minutes into the book, so I'm going to skip huge chunks. They go to Paradise Island, and they go to Metropolis was destroyed. Wherever Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn are at, basically they're hiding in the green. They've set up a wall. They had survivors there, and now the heroes are basically the Earth is lost. They're going to leave the planet, and so they've built a couple arcs that just kind of look like space zeppelins. And they're going to load about 7 million people in each one. I kind of have a problem with that, but I'll come back to that. So, this is all basically getting ready for the big fight, and there's one thing I kept thinking about all this, was where is Aquaman? Where is Tempest? We saw them get converted, and I'm glad Tom Taylor did not forget this, because we get this beautiful 2-page spread as, well, now that they rose landmass in a previous issue, Paradise Island is not hidden anymore. So the infected can find them. All the infected Atlanteans, and Aquaman is controlling the Kraken. This is awesome. I mean, right on top. So, of course, we have a big fight about to happen, and then we see Aquaman get taken down by an arrow to the eye and just kind of falls. This derpy look on Mira's face, says it all. And it's a great Ollie moment. If you ever wonder why this guy's on the Justice League, it's right here. And Batman didn't think I could be dangerous. Just fired an arrow half a mile through raging winds into the brain of the undead King of the Sea while he was controlling the damn Kraken. F you, Batman. Has Tom Taylor written a Green Arrow book? I'm not sure if it's one of those things that he writes them awesomely in small doses, but I really like when he writes Green Arrow. So basically, now becomes the battle for Paradise Island. One of the things I will say that I was kind of disappointed, other than this 2-page spread, and then just kind of the falling, we don't really see the Kraken again. Yes, Aquaman was controlling him, but is he just falling down asleep? Or is it like lashing out in its rage? I just feel like this was an opportunity that was just too good. When you see a splash page like this and you're like, oh, this is going to be good. And then pretty much it just becomes Amazons versus Atlanteans, It's like Flashpoint all over again, but with the undead. So they're trying to evacuate Paradise Island as Superman is going on his rant and just destroying everything. I'm going to skip a huge chunk here. I'm going to slide over here because I have to decide what page would be good to land upon. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to get into the spoiler part right now. So as I'm pulled over to the side here, this is where we're going to start spoiling things. And so if you don't want to know how this book ends, turn away. I won't be offended. Go read it. Go read the book or go look up how it ends if you don't want to be spoiled. But go read the book. I recommend it. I enjoyed it. Is it perfect? No, it's not. So, now that the spoiler bit is done, that sword that Wonder Woman was going to use to kill Superman, that she felt she had fate, yeah, she takes it into him, and cuts off his arm, thrusts it into him. Yeah, she thrusts it into him. But then Superman does his gut punch. Again, does Tom Taylor just like doing that with Superman? He did that with Joker in Injustice. So, yeah, the magic can cut him. The kryptonite can cut him. I don't know if this is just the equation goes above and beyond, but yeah, that sword is kind of not all it's made out to be, because it doesn't stop Superman. Wonder Woman is taken down. So now we're down to Wonder Woman. I almost said Wonder Woman, Green Canary, and Cyborg, as Superman is now going after the Arcs. And Green Canary realizes it's up to her, and she tries to get Vic to come along, and as he says, "The virus started with me, Dinah. I was never coming with you. Go." So we get a great little scene of, as Superman's getting close to the Ark, John. By the way, also the Damian John parts, the Superboy Robin parts interactions, still good. I mean, damn you, Bendis, for aging him up. Those two work so well together. So he basically has to stop his undead father. All he has to do is stop him. Slow him down. Not even stop him, just slow him down. And that's when Green Canary, I'm going to keep calling her Green Canary, with the sword, goes up, and you think she's going to give the final blow when the Deus Ex Machina show up. The Green Lantern Corps have been watching what's going on, and they've decided they're quarantining everything. They're taking control. It's about bloody time. And I love Green Lantern. I love the Green Lantern Corps. Huge, huge fan. So part of me was like, oh yeah, awesome. And then part of me was like, oh, this is kind of sloppy writing. They just all come at once. Because they said that they've been spending weeks working on the arcs, and Hal has got to have already been reported as dead, since now that Canary has the ring. So, and maybe it just took this long to get all the reinforcements. It could have at least said, hey, help's on the way. So, we do get some weird humor from Guy Gardner here. And he says, hey, I might not have the incredible will of Hal Jordan or the stunning creativity of Kal Rayner, but I am a freaking master of masking my emotional terror with jokes. Hey, what's Superman doing? That's not Superman. And it's thinking. Working out if it take all of us on. You're an equation. Do the math. And that's one thing. I always kind of hate when Superman is more powerful than a Green Lantern. I think the strongest Green Lantern should be able to go toe-to-toe with Superman, but that's just me. And against the whole Corps, I always hate when Superman can just decimate the entire GL Corps. So what happens? Infected Superman flies into the sun. And Ganthet just pretty much stops everyone, says, that it's feeding on the sun. And it's draining it out. And that in time, the entire solar system will grow cold and die. And we're just going to let it? Every Green Lantern's light even Green Lantern's light isn't powerful enough to reach into the heart of a star. Except when it is. Perhaps it's for the best. We cannot wipe out the virus directly. We cannot risk exposure. But if the system freezes, the virus will sleep. Does space work that way? I mean, space is pretty much already cold, right? Couldn't they just move Superman into someplace cold? Or if that was, it's just kind of weird how it's phrased out, that the whole solar system has to be killed. But anyway, fine. This is, when you have an infected Superman, who didn't even seem to be bothered that his arm was cut off, yeah, maybe this is the best solution. It's the ultimate solar chemotherapy, right? And here's where we get to the part where we're back on Earth, and Cyborg has the infected Wonder Woman wrapped up in the lasso. And he says, the lasso of truth compels you. Can you speak? Which, I don't know if that could really do this. I mean, the lasso of truth will force you to tell the truth, but I don't know if it will force you to talk. But anyway, we find out that the equation can. We have a voice. And Cyborg asks, is there a way to stop you? We are death. Nothing can stop death. You are a virus. Is there a cure? Yes. What is it? Where is it? And the anti-life equation resists and finally says, the cure is in you. So now we have hope again. And the equation explains, you are man and machine. You are binary, off and on. Patient 0 and the 1. The alpha and the omega. But that means everyone we fought, everyone we ended, they didn't have to die. Which the equation says everything dies. Well, that doesn't really quite make sense what the guilt that he's feeling. Yeah, he was still the carrier, but he doesn't know exactly how he's the cure. He just knows that the cure is inside of him. People still would have died until, I mean, that's just how things work, until you discover, figure out what the cure to something is, the vaccine, unfortunately there's going to be death before that. So, he realizes the arcs. I have to reach the arcs. They have to know. And he stupidly drops the lasso, and Wonder Woman kills him. And just tears his head off. Life is fleeting. That is the only truth. Death is forever. So here we are, the end, the last 2 pages. The arcs are on their way to the new planet. We do get the Lois finishing up her story about this with the combined total in the arcs, the 14 million people, and saying that they're going to their Earth 2. And we looked at our new world for the first time, our new start, our Earth 2. And I knew the monsters were behind us now. And yeah, this is actually a nice panel. Before I go into what I want to discuss, this video may be a little bit long because this is the end of a series, and this is a double-sized issue. The art in this book, I want to, because I'll probably forget that. There were, a couple of artists doing the book. Yeah, if you go up over to here, that will focus in. It's really kind of hard to read the way they did that, but you see how they broke it up into the different pages between Trevor and Neil. I will say they did it well enough that I didn't notice it until I looked really closely when it would change artists. And that's really nice. It didn't break the flow. Sometimes I don't talk about the art enough. And I felt the art was really good overall in this series. It captured storytelling was done well. And yeah, the art, I'm going to give the art a good job on this. Again, when you have multiple artists, sometimes with me, it takes me out of the story when it does the shifts. I don't know if it was the inking and the coloring together that did such a good job. Because, yeah, you'll notice some of the differences when we get... You may notice, especially with some of the faces, like this. You see, like this versus... I think we get a change, you can see some of it. Anyway, the ending. I was up with this until the ending. Like I said, there was a few little things. The Kraken, and then just kind of disappearing. Kind of a wasted opportunity. The Green Lantern Corps showing up just right as you're going through the book. And you're like, okay, yeah, the lanterns are here. And the sword. We have Dinah. She's got the sword. This was what it was created for. We had all the hype behind it that Dinah gave. No, really all it did was cut off Superman's arm. All it did is now infected Superman cannot clap. And that's pretty much all it did. The Green Lantern Corps just appearing out of nowhere. I mean, basically, their whole thing about showing up was to give Superman an excuse to go retreat into the sun and solve the problem. The problem wasn't really solved, because we know this book sold very well. In fact, there is some other. I don't know if it's a sequel, but there is a series already about to come out that's kind of tied in with this. Um, I felt like the ending was kind of lazy. Um, and yeah, it is the equation controlling Superman's body, but he was gravely injured. And he just seems to be shaking off the loss of an arm. Um, and then the arcs. Um, I have a problem whenever they do this. I had a problem with it in Final Crisis. I had a problem in it with it in what was the storyline? What was it? Futures? No, it wasn't Futures End. Was it Convergence? That DC had a couple series at that time where basically Earth 2 was destroyed and they went to a new Earth 2, and they had the similar arc thing going on. Was that Convergence? No. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I didn't like it then. I didn't like it in Final Crisis, where they grab millions of people in just a few short weeks and they build the arcs. How did they do this? Granted, with Superman, he was there. He knew about the arcs. You would think that that would be just so big, so huge to have 7 million people in them. We're talking the size of large, giant cities, plus all the stuff needed to feed them, to life support, energy, to be done in a few weeks. Kind of calling BS on that. But I guess it had to be done. Maybe if it was like a smaller group of people, maybe 500,000 people, maybe I can go back with that. But the last ending of the book really, really kind of took me out of it. It felt kind of like lazy storyline. Almost kind of felt like they changed the ending at the end to give it a sequel hook. And maybe it's just me. Yeah, I didn't care for it. We have Superman chilling in the sun, absorbing the energy, basically getting stronger. And the Guardians say, well, the solar system will be cold and the virus will go dormant. Not if he's supercharged on yellow sun energy. Can he use all that energy he's absorbed and fly out of the galaxy and out of the solar system, what was the solar system, to, I don't know, the closest system, Alpha Centauri, and then just kind of start over from there and re-energize? Yeah, I kind of wish it was more of a standalone, because it doesn't really feel like the story ended. Even with, the kind of happy ending, not even a happy ending, the closest thing we get to a happy ending where they find Earth 2. Again, they built all this in a couple weeks. And, up until like the ending, the series is so good. I've been loving this book. But then, like I said, there's just so many things. And if it was just one or two, I could handle it. But just like all at once, it was just pulling me out of the book. So what would I give this book overall? This issue itself. The art is good. I love the art. I love the fact that we have two artists, and the inker and the colorist really make it as seamless as they possibly can. If you look closely, you can see it. Is the book, other than the ending, perfect? No, there's a few bits. Ivy and Harley are used quite a bit, on covers and that, and they really don't play a big part in it, other than that Poison Ivy is the one who was able to create the Green Sanctuary to save half the survivors. And she and Harley stayed on Earth anyway, so. Um, but yeah, I mean, the ending aside, which I gotta take a point off for that. I've explained all my reasons, and I feel like the ending could have been so much stronger. Um, you had the sword, you had so much. Uh, yeah, it just seemed like they all just sat around and let Superman fly away. Even when he was just standing there, why didn't Dinah just charge him then? So what would I give this issue alone? Man, I really want to go higher. I mean, a different ending, I would have gone full 12 o'clock. I'm going to go 1 o'clock on this. 1 o'clock. I like the book. I really do. The series overall, I'm still going to go 1 o'clock. Not perfect, but I enjoyed it. And, that's all we're ever asking for, right? And you can nitpick anything about any series. I can overlook a lot. But all that at the end at once was just way too much, and it was kind of disappointing. So, we know there's going to be some type of sequel coming from this. So we'll see what happens next. And so yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this issue far more than I did the Marvel Zombies Resurrection. The one I just did last night. Now, granted, beginning of a story, end of a story, but there was heart in this book. There was a little bit of humor, and you really felt the hopelessness with the characters. You felt the fear, and the pacing was good. So, yeah, 1 o'clock. I think 1 o'clock is a very, very fair score for this. So, I've gone on a half hour. Did not intend to go on this long. So, thank you for sitting through all this. And as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. And a little bit of hint. I might have to put the next video up a little bit later because I might have to work a little bit blue on it because I don't know if YouTube's going to let me put that video up. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.